Welcome back to the Wacky Wonderful Wise Works podcast, all you guys, gals, geeks, and goofballs.
Woo-hoo!
It's been an interesting couple weeks. I'm sure, when this release is a little later than the current time it is now, so I'm sure some more things will happen.
Listen, fellas, not only is there a lot going on with us, but who cares about all that? If you want to catch that in the pre-show on Patreon and YouTube memberships, you can hear all about it.
Absolutely.
However, we are in the thick of it when it comes to good, bad, and ugly of films and series. Some of it's content, some of it's filmmaking, as we established on the last episode. But we are in the thick. House of the Dragon. I know when this comes out, it'll have been out. The first episode's out, but tomorrow night, House of the Dragon is dropping. All right, we're watching the Acolyte. The internet's on fire. You know what I mean? Rings of Power is just around the corner.
Rings.
Freaking! This is a wild time.
Dude, things are bombing at the box office.
The Bears
Fall Guy, Furiosa. What else just dropped to that bomb?
Inside Out 2.
Inside Out. Well, I think Inside Out's actually tracking some pretty good numbers.
Yeah. We as expected. But listen, another sleeper that we're never going to really talk about, but I kind of have been hearing it amongst the women out there. The women are rallying around Bridgerton season 3.
No thanks.
No thanks. I sampled it yesterday.
I don't do
period pieces.
Historically inaccurate period pieces.
Well, okay, Kenzie's put this way. She's like, think of it as a multiverse, and it's just a different universe.
No,
because it's so detached from our actual reality. The Queen is a half black, half Asian looking lady.
I'd
be okay with outfits. You know,
I'd be okay if they said it was multiverse, but they just not saying it's multiverse. So I can't
listen. The people are playing classical music, like modern day pop songs, but in classical style, like when they're doing ballroom dances. You know what I mean? So like it's so obviously it's not supposed to be accurate to the times.
So what you're saying is women have disassociated so much from reality that the TV shows that they watch have to be so disassociated from reality.
Dude,
it's almost
everything.
Women used to like good stuff.
No, look, everything. Women are watching like 90 Day Fiance and stuff.
Like, but they I'm talking about like as far as like BBC type classical stuff.
Look,
they used to like good English like dramas and stuff.
Look, the last historically accurate thing that they made that the women were on was Downton Abbey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was good.
It was pretty all right,
and it was good. Man, when are we gonna get some more of that? That's annoying.
All I'm saying is
annoying to me.
All I'm saying is Bridgerton is hot right now, and it's so detached from reality that all you could do is just be like, obviously this has to be in another universe. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't even bother me because it's such a silly show. It's such a silly premise. It's not like they're trying to be serious. It's literally just goofiness. And so it's what it is. I'm just saying that. Speaking of things that are popping or not popping, Bridgerton this new season is popping, and people are eating it up. Women are eating it up, right? I've had to consume quite a bit recently of stuff I'm not enjoying, and so I'm really, really looking forward to House of the Dragon.
Go ahead.
I love Game of Thrones.
I said go ahead, but I didn't specify who.
I love Game of Thrones. That's it's a favorite of mine. Even season 8 that everybody hated. But you would
like season 8.
It's sad. I'm not looking forward to the House of the Dragon that much.
It's because life is distracting you.
No.
He likes season 8, but he doesn't like a good show.
Too many birth scenes in the first one that made me feel disgusting, and I hated it. And I
Get
was
over it.
disgusted with every episode. I was looking at something I didn't want to look at, and I was disgusted. Did I forget to tell you that I was disgusted by the birth scene?
I have a solution for that kind of stuff. Here, check
Okay.
this out. See that? Look at this
Close
one.
my eyes.
This is a different one.
Close my eyes.
How about this one? Why?
What's it? Hold on. For those of you listening to this, we are closing our eyes.
Yeah.
So how about this one?
No, well, there was a lot of that in the first season. There better not be any of that in the next season. I don't want that.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that there's probably gonna be a little bit less. I think they're probably gonna be focusing on.
I don't think there's
The
as many
action.
pregnancies this season.
They're gonna be focusing on the action.
But I know they might be back to pregnancies in the third season. Just
Yeah.
well, listen, dude. I'm not going to spoil it, but you know how the bloodline passes on.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So there has to be more pregnancies.
And it's a a fantasy, historical fantasy, like medieval
Wait a minute.
fantasy. So
How does the bloodline pass on? Do I want
I
to
told
know?
you I'm not going to spoil it because people are going to watch this and
Yeah.
we're about to enjoy the show. I'm not going to spoil it. But
Yeah,
if you
but
do a
that's not
Google
gonna
search,
be in this season. That's going to be next season.
That's what I'm saying.
I will say though, historical fantasy, things that happen historically, people got pregnant.
that's what
Yeah.
happens.
I didn't know.
It happened in the past. It's gonna happen.
Right.
I mean, maybe some robots will be pregnant in the future, but
Hopefully not. Yeah, so there's a lot of good stuff coming out, a lot of bad stuff. There's been a big resurgence online for reviews and stuff of Godzilla -1 because that just popped up on Netflix and streaming and renting and everything. It's a good movie.
Right.
It's a good movie. I did watch it.
I don't disagree that it probably is a fantastic movie. I can't sit through a black and white film right now.
It's not black and white. You can get the colored version on Netflix.
It's like a dub thing. Joseph won't read subtitles, and I'm not gonna black
It's
and
not
white.
that I won't read subtitles.
It's that you can't. I know you're illiterate. I know you can't.
Yeah, we
I've
heard you
seen you try to read the articles on this show.
It's that I read slowly and comprehend even slower.
A
so-
sentence pops up in Godzilla -1. Joe goes, "I missed it."
That's what happens.
I missed it.
That's what happens.
No,
every
it is a
time.
good movie. It's got a pretty straightforward story. There is a couple of leaps in like believability as far as I think
we were talking about
coincidence.
Godzilla a little bit here.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Check out Godzilla -1 if you haven't seen it. It's a good Godzilla movie. Definitely beats out anything that the MonsterVerse has done since 2014.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Glad something good is coming out in
Yeah.
the monster world.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna say that like if you guys are wanting to opt out of all these bad shows that everyone online and the world seems to be watching, with the exception of House of the Dragon, but you want to watch something good and you missed The Offer. I know I keep saying it. I went back and rewatched it. It holds up, man.
Yeah.
One of the best shows
Offer,
out there.
The Bear.
The Offer is amazing.
The Bear,
Bear's pretty
yeah,
good.
I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to The Bear. I don't.
But I feel like a lot of people watched The Bear. A lot of people did not watch The Offer.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true. People
So-
watch The Bear. They just didn't talk about it that much.
But let's go ahead and jump into our first segment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Are we jumping? We flying in on a
Dude,
spaceship?
we're force pushing.
We're pushing.
like in the
No.
Phantom Menace when the droidicas show up and
Dude,
Obi-Wan
we're-
and Qui-Gon do that one force jump speed
Yeah.
move that they only do once ever. They just
Or
go,
when
Yeah.
Dueling of the Fates is coming up and Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting and they go, ugh, and just
Yeah.
like hold it.
so
I think honestly, for this, it feels more like we're thread pulling.
yeah, we're threading the
Red
needle
Bull.
here. So it's everybody's talking about it, the Acolyte. Nobody's talking about it well. There's so much stuff about this. There are people talking about like, there's people going on Twitter and saying, aren't the Jedi supposed to be the good guys?
Yeah.
And there's people in the comments being like, aren't the police supposed to be the good guys? Dude, it is the most brain
Dude,
rot, brain
I
dead
knew
thing.
they were trying, especially in episode 1. I knew they were trying to do like a
They're
police
trying
brutality kind
to
of.
make the Jedi, not good.
Yeah.
So we're not doing a review of this show.
No, we have
We've
a review
already
out.
done a review.
And we're going
I
to
just
continue
kinda,
doing,
I want to talk about kind of all the stuff surrounding it. We got so many people talking about it. Gary from Nerdrotic made a post about it. Everybody, I'm sure, has seen the very cringe Coven scene where it's the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. You guys seen that? It makes me cringe every time. I hate it.
It's so gross, dude.
It's
It's such a weird.
Have you seen it, Josh?
Thing.
Yeah, you guys did a review, but I was out that day and I didn't get to watch the last episode.
Did you watch episode 3?
Have you seen that scene at least on the internet?
Oh
my
God.
God.
I tried to, I'm catching up on a few things. I had to catch up on the latest episode of The Chosen, and I ended up falling asleep last night. And so, no, I have not seen The Acolyte yet, but I'm planning to this afternoon.
It's so cringe. I mean, they literally, I thought, I knew they were going to do some sort of chant like that because they said that a couple times, right? But when I don't know
hand gestures, dude. Just the
I don't know if I don't know if it's the it's like that's like the first draft of a chant. The power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
Ugh.
It's so bad. And then they go into a minor note.
It's so freaking, it's horrible. And like
it's
the weird
so bad
yelps and
yeah, she's giving an announcement. One lady goes,
I'm so scared to watch this now.
It's the worst thing ever, dude. It's not only blasphemous to the Star Wars lore, it's also like bad TV. It's worse than Faith Song, right? If anyone knows the lore of our podcast, it's worse than this really cheesy Christian film that I made I didn't make it. I was the director of photography on back in 2016. It was a horrible movie, very cringy faith film. This is worse than that. This is horribly cringy.
Also, I was looking on the trending tab. Jeremy Johns has his review is on the trending tab of the Acolyte, which is crazy. The reviews don't usually hit the trending tab. Also, Star Wars Theory. If anybody out there knows Star Wars Theory,
I've watched a bunch of thoughts.
I've followed him for a while. His reaction to this. If you guys have seen his reaction to this, he's sitting there and he's watching and his face is like
he looks like he's gonna throw up.
He's and then he turns it off. He's like, that was abhorrent. What an abomination.
I love his energy, dude. Before episode 3 came out, he dropped a video and he's like, look, guys, I know the internet is gonna be very divided. This is gonna be one of the worst, most divisive Star Wars episodes ever. I just think we should be the higher people here and just keep it respectful and point out with logic and facts about why it's bad and not but I'm just like, bro, sometimes you just got to I agree with that notion because that's going to be the best way to hear people out, and he is kind of the voice of authority on YouTube for Star Wars.
He's always been, I would say some people even call him somewhat of an apologist for Star Wars.
Yeah, and George Lucas. He's a big George Lucas.
But he loves, this is something he loves.
That's why he has the biggest YouTube channel about Star Wars on the internet.
And it was so sad to see how they're destroying what he loves.
Yeah.
It's kind of last night I didn't really watch all of it, but I turned it on. This is gonna sound bad, but I turned on the original, Disney's Mulan, the cartoon animated one. Mm-hmm. You got Eddie Murphy playing Mushu, and I'm like, this is hilarious. There's a ton of great jokes in here that I never picked up as a kid, but it was still good as a kid. I love this. This holds up to today. This is hilarious. And then you put this on and you're like, where did Disney go wrong? Where did Disney go wrong? Because that was great and I had a great time. And then I watched this and I'm like, what? What is this?
And this is what, $100 million show?
I think it's 140 million. I'm pretty sure. Let me look it up.
So, I mean, I just want to point out, it's going back talking about Godzilla -1. That was
$180 million.
$180 million. Oof. Godzilla -1 was made for $15 million.
They spent an average of $22.5 million an episode. Think about that. That abomination cringe fest of an episode 3.
Yeah.
They spent $22.5 million to make that thing.
That's some Sci-Fi Channel BS right there. The Sci-Fi Channel's made better shows than this, I swear.
They're actually funneling money through the show. It's just drug money.
I see. People keep saying I think they're laundering money. They're not laundering money. They're just
bloated, dude.
They're overpaying.
They're bloated.
They're directors. They're overpaying their actors.
They're overpaying these freaking activists, man.
They're overpaying everybody. And so, yeah, so there's a lot of controversy, obviously. There's a lot of people, talking about, like, even the makeup. Look at this. Dude, come on, guys.
I brought this up on week 1 of our reviews.
Yeah.
I feel like just now everyone's talking about how horrible this dude looks. It's the worst thing ever.
So
some of the stuff looked bad, but to me, it doesn't look.
The beard, the beard doesn't look terrible.
Why did they give him a receding hairline?
Why? Because he's a malding white man. That's why.
Freaking, he looks like a little boy wearing a receding hairline makeup cap.
The issue here is it's not with the hair. It's with the fact that they didn't age up his face. They didn't give him any wrinkles here. They didn't give him any lines or bags under his eyes or in his cheeks. They didn't go hard enough with the age.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make him look aged, like he's been stressing about something for 10 years or 16 years or however long, you need to age him.
Yes. And receding hairline isn't the right call to age him. He just looks foolish and silly.
But
man.
Yeah, 22 million for that episode. Let's talk about this a little bit. The Chosen One. So the immaculately conceived force.
Oh, so they did do the.
You really got to catch up on this, Josh. If the people watching this don't want to hear you not knowing what's going on.
Well, I'm the perspective of the person who hasn't seen it, the naive person that's getting my.
In this episode, we got the incredible line where the mothers are talking about the twins, and the one mother's like, I carried them, I should have say in this, and the other mother's like, well, I created them. And I think as a dad, you should be able to use that argument. Well, I created them.
I created them.
If that's how it works, right?
Right. Also, I did feel like that scene we were gonna get some same-sex abuse going on. I thought
so.
I thought we were about to get a smack.
Dude, well, the way that the mother Anastasia treats what was her name? Toril?
Something like that, yeah.
The way that she treats her is disgusting. It really is. She like touches her face real nice once, but then she throws in her face that she created these kids with the force.
Yeah, it's like she's looking.
She coddles the children. She's like, my little sweet children deserves sweets and candy.
She's constantly undermining her partner.
Constantly undermining her.
Yeah,
like, what horrible parenting.
Yeah. Yeah. And, statistics say that the highest form of abuse is in lesbian relationships. Physical and verbal and emotional. I can see it. Yeah. So it makes sense. They're on brand.
One parent was clearly a good parent, disciplining their kids the other one, she was just, oh man, she was coddling them. She was what's the word? Not instigating.
Yeah, she's instigating arguments because one is concerned and putting in boundaries, and the other one is like, "Shut up, I'm in charge." That's the whole vibe,
Mhm.
right? And so very, very dark relationship
Yeah.
these two lesbians have.
And then the other issue that a lot of people have is it's not the acting of the kids. The acting's bad, yes. They're kids.
They just didn't
Anakin's
cast the
acting
kids
was
very
bad.
well.
We're
Yep.
just following the trend of
It's
immaculately conceived
working.
forced babies
It's
acting
working.
Acting
bad
bad.
acting. Oh,
Yeah.
immaculately conceived forced kids without a dad
They can't
acting
act.
out being bad.
Acting out,
ending up
not
bad,
acting.
right?
Has the
Right.
kids done a pod race yet? I'm just curious.
No, they're not that talented. The but the where was I going with that? They're acting.
We're talking about immaculately conception.
No, it's the dialogue.
Okay.
So a lot of people complain about the dialogue. They say the same things. The one's like, "I'm excited to be a witch." The other's like, "I don't know that I want to be a witch." And they have that conversation about 4 different times.
Which also let's bring up that narrative is crazy unless you are, which they don't. They need to paint this coven of witches in a bad light. And if you don't, you're morally wrong because they're
Mhm.
literally pressuring a child to do something they don't want to do.
Yeah. Well, and then also they say Mother Anastasia says, "We wield powers that some would consider dark."
I'd call it abuse.
Dude, Palpatine literally says almost the same thing,
The same line.
right? He says that the dark side leads to powers that some might call unnatural.
Right.
So yeah, there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
The thing is, because they're a coven of witches and Hollywood wants to glorify covens and witches and women being self-sufficient and scissoring each other,
Mhm.
they can't. They want them to be powerful and not demonized. So they're
Right.
flirting with the side of the Force that is the villains, but they won't say they're villains because they're witches and women. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Also, like it's not like Star Wars hasn't had witches before. They've had the Night Sisters and the Witches of Dathomir in comics and TV shows and books for years.
But they've been the villains, right?
But yeah, they've been villains.
They had to create a new coven of witches so they
Mhm.
don't make them the villain. That's the whole
And
point.
again, with the idea of the thread, there's been multiple cultures in Star Wars of people who use the Force that don't call it the Force, right? The issue I have with this show is that it's feminism, right? What feminism does is it lifts up female characters but also degrades male characters.
Mhm.
And that's what they're doing it. They're somehow doing it with the Force. They're lifting up the thread and degrading the Force.
Yes.
It's wild.
Is the Force masculine or feminine, you think?
It's not. It's
I think
not either.
Kathleen Kennedy
Said the
established
Force, she said the
female.
Force is female. It's not. It's just
It's-
it comes from life. That's what
it's not
Yoda said.
gendered.
It's not gendered. It comes from life. It guides
It's what
us and
holds us
surrounds
together. It's
Yeah.
what binds us.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a form of. I mean, it's not the same, but it's literally certain Western or Eastern cultures. They don't believe in the Force, but the Force is based around belief systems around
Yeah. It's like
nature and the universe holding
it's in
itself
this
together.
in this
you know?
universe. It is their god.
Yes.
It creates the universe and sustains it and is sustained by it. There's lots of contradictions. She says that you can't your future isn't fated for you by some anonymous force. You can pull on the thread and change it. But then she also says that we'll never see each other again. It's destiny. It's so weird.
Unless she's tugging on the thread and making it so. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
On her own will.
It's so wild. And so I'm getting too into the weeds here. I mentioned Gary from Nerdrotic.
Yes.
He commented on that scene with the 1 and 2 and many, right? Elon Musk replied.
Oh no.
Elon Musk replied. I don't remember what the reply is, but he was saying that it was cringe. It's such pop culture now that it's bleeding into, like, even Elon Musk is seeing this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's on trending. It's on Twitter. Elon Musk is seeing it. Charlie from Moist Critical.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't usually make videos on this kind, like review videos on this kind of stuff. But he made a video, and he's usually pretty easy on stuff. Charlie's usually pretty easy on some of this kind of stuff.
Right.
He didn't go easy on this.
You probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
This is scary. I mean, it's honestly, it's not only, look, there's so much to this that is upsetting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would be wrong. I have so many questions. Why? First off, why is this allowed? It doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to make money and you want to be popular and you don't want to lose Disney Plus subscribers, out of everything that Disney is willing to can, why was this greenlit?
Mm-hmm.
Because we've had multiple years of them seeing flop after flop after flop, and they're like, okay, we have to turn this around. This is a problem. Even if they spent all the money on the production, and they're like, okay, we're going to have a super woke Star Wars story that was created by lesbians for lesbians. Then they're like, all right, we don't want to keep losing viewership or having the audience upset with us because that's our bread and butter. And they don't scrap this before it comes out. Like, literally, you're losing Disney Plus subscribers with everything that's hated that you release.
Yeah.
So why was this greenlit?
And they know that their audience is dominantly male.
Oh yeah.
They know it. They've talked about it. You want to make shows for lesbians? That's cool. Bridgerton is out. You can go watch it. You know? It just, like, this one is, I don't get the logic behind it. I want to ask you guys, with this show, can we pull up the IMDb?
IMDb, let me go ahead and do that.
Because this show is I believe the lowest rated Star Wars property. Like, below the special, like the Christmas special, which is pretty low.
So let's see. The Acolyte.
Are we talking about the ones with the Ewoks?
Yeah. This is lower than all of those.
That was terrible, but it was fun.
So,
or not the IMDb. I'm sorry, the Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, okay. I had that.
But a 3.7
on IMDb, which is pretty
down
low.
a point.
16%.
It went down a point.
16%.
It was 17 yesterday. Wow.
16 out of 100.
I think they're fighting a little bit because by
the time this comes out, by the time this episode comes out, this will probably have changed. But today it is 16.
Can we?
What I'm not understanding is this.
Yeah.
Why does it have?
What are the critics saying? Okay, do we have any reviews on the critics?
Yeah, I'm trying to click it. It's not letting me click it. Why is it not letting me click the?
Because they're not real.
See, and that 16% usually can see how many people are in that audience. It usually says 10,000 or 5,000.
They must be blocking it so people, because people
they are blocking it.
What's going on? Why is it not letting me read the reviews? Why? Where's the reviews at, man?
I think just scroll down. Scroll down. See if they're.
There's
Yeah,
nothing here.
That's funny.
Is it? Did they change the structure of the?
What's that on the side?
Is it just Doctor Who, Love Island?
Oh, it's just other things that they.
Bro, Doctor Who should not be at a 97. Yeah,
We're gonna
that's
watch
weird.
more like this.
Can you not
related news
click
videos?
critical? Can you not click that? The 16. Oh, it just brings you here.
It just brings us here. It's not letting me read any reviews. It was earlier because Nerd
awesome.
Erotic was doing something with it. I can't read the reviews anymore.
Dude, it dropped a point and they turned it off.
Literally, this is a link that you can click to read reviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not letting me click it.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Dude, this is some Rings of Power nonsense. What is happening? Anyways, so this is the lowest rated Star Wars thing ever, which is a big thing to do because you know, the what came before it, the Ewok Christmas special was pretty disliked, but that's older. That was when George Lucas was still there, was still in charge. Disney stuff, I mean, I haven't looked and studied ratings, but I know Kenobi was very disliked, right?
Yeah.
It was very disliked and it was a trash show. This is beating it. I honestly, the first couple episodes, I'm like, okay, I don't know if this is as bad or worse than Kenobi yet. After episode 3, it dropped way below Kenobi. In my mind.
So it's way
below Kenobi
now then.
When watching it, I was kind of like, it's pretty bland and boring. Seeing people break it down, even to the point where they're like, why is the Jedi in the bar not protecting the people she's sitting with? Shouldn't that? And she lets all of them get hurt, and then she fights this assassin. It like people being like, this doesn't track with the way that people like Jedi should be behaving.
Yeah.
Or that the way people behave. Or when Trinity says in this flashback, she says, it is the Jedi's right to test the children.
Okay.
And then she says, with your permission, of course. It's an oxymoron.
Just freaking right.
It contradicts itself.
Right dialogue that makes sense, dude.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. There's so much that there's nobody skilled working on this. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
But I want to ask you guys, what is the future of Star Wars after this? What's the future of Star Wars? With the Leslie headlamp.
She looks
She looks like a semi truck.
Yeah, I don't mean to make fun of a human being because I don't know her, but like, why? Why are you wearing those glasses?
Oh, did you guys see Brett Cooper's review of this?
No.
I think she's a chill also.
Look, Brett Cooper loves Leslie Headland.
Does she really?
She worked with her on a movie when Brett Cooper was in Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
She said she loves Leslie Headland. She's awesome, a wonderful person to work with. I'm like, freaking Brett Cooper? Stop being a shill.
Yeah, she was the personal assistant for Harvey Weinstein.
Brett Cooper's a bit whack, honestly. I'm not vibing with her content, and I've only sampled some.
Wait a minute.
She has some wacky.
She was
opinions.
the assistant to Harvey Weinstein.
This woman, yes,
Leslie Headland.
Leslie Headland.
Harvey wanted her to do him some favors.
No, she's a lesbian.
She was facilitating other women to do favors for him.
If you think that she didn't have knowledge of what was going on, wrong.
Wrong. Yeah,
So-
that's crazy.
Yeah, check it out.
What?
I was just going to show to Joshua. Personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
There she is. Her and Harvey.
Dang.
All right. Anyways.
But so where do you guys think Star Wars goes from here?
I gotta. Okay, so first,
Using that chin as a launching pad.
And then we go put it in the trash compactor. The one that Luke and
that's
Han
a good reference.
Almost got crushed in.
The future Star Wars projects that are greenlit.
No, Joe, come on. That's not what I'm
I
asking.
I have to know what are the next projects to get, because I
Like, we
can make
can look
accurate
at the next
predictions.
project. I want to know where
No,
you think
nobody
that
season 2.
they take Star Wars, what direction they take it in.
This is the thing, the Disney Plus doesn't care about lore. All they care about is lightsabers and Force users. And
Friends.
so they're
curious.
just they're just putting out stuff that doesn't make sense. Like there's not coherency here, right?
So do you think it changes to the point
Yes.
where it just continues to make up its own lore?
Yeah, for 100%. So the next that's what I'm saying. The only thing that we can accurately base this around is what are the next projects that are already greenlit, and
Mhm.
then theorize about what they're going to be, because they don't care. They're not trying to create a story that works into each other. That's probably why they're like, oh, this is so different than Star Wars that we know. Let's put it 1,000 years before the first movie.
I think it's only 100.
Let's put it 100 years before the first movie. Let's detach it from any existing timeline with the Skywalker saga, and let's just create this ultra feminist story,
Yeah.
that's outside of what's currently existing.
Are
So
these you think they're going to do some kind of thing like, this kind of, it's very biblical of being like the lineage of David was Jesus came out of the lineage of David. You think they're going to be like the lineage of this girl of these chosen ones are going to be Anakin Skywalker?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did
would-
something like that. Anakin only came from something that some lady did 100 years before.
Yeah. This mother girl, they're like, oh, she's the reason that built the trajectory for Anakin Skywalker, right? And really, it's because she understood the Force or the thread more than anyone else, and so that's why it works out in the end, and he's the one who brings balance to it, right?
Interesting.
So the upcoming projects, you got Skeleton Crew, that's an animated series. You got the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that Jon Favreau is directing. You got the Charmin Obaid-Chinoy Star Wars: A New Jedi.
Oh yeah, the Rey movie.
The Rey movie, which is going to be garbage. And then you got Dave Filoni's live action Star Wars movie that doesn't have like a lot of details around it.
Right.
So we got a couple. We got 3 live actions, including 3 movies. And then you have a series that's Skeleton Crew. I don't see any more series that are greenlit.
It's interesting. They haven't done a movie since
It's been a minute.
And Andor season
Skywalker?
2. Andor season 2 is possibly on its way.
Was the Rise of Skywalker the last Star Wars movie?
Yeah. No. Was it Solo?
They did Rogue One, they did Solo. Were there any others?
Solo was beforehand, I think.
Yeah, you're right. The Rise of Skywalker was the last Star Wars movie. Everything else has been series. And so the next movie is going to be Jon Favreau's Mandalorian and Grogu.
Of the slide.
Oh, you don't
change the slide.
You don't like Leslie?
I'm so
Just staring at you.
distracted by
we can move on. So that's the state of Star Wars, right?
Well, okay, so do you guys think that Jon Favreau, because we know what they did with season 3 of The Mandalorian, is Jon Favreau even going to be able to greenlight anything here? Like any of his own probably good ideas?
Jon Favreau did some good things in his day, but I don't respect him anymore as a creator. He's
I don't think he can.
No, he's
I think there's too much
man on the street videos, right? Of people running into Jon Favreau. He alludes to the fact that he has no control of Star Wars stuff anymore.
No, he doesn't. It's
his own story with season 3 of The Mandalorian and everything. He has no control.
Away from Disney.
He popped off opening Marvel. And then he actually did something good with Star Wars, with Disney Star Wars, with The Mandalorian episode, season 1 and 2.
Favreau have his own studio?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I think he
think
needs to bounce.
he needs to bounce and just start his own studio. Maybe
do
not
something.
like Weta, or just like do something different. Just
Yeah, I'd get out of there and make some good stuff. Although he might be under contract, so we don't know.
break contract. He's got enough money to break his contract. Just pay them whatever fines they want for breaking.
Let's move
contract.
on.
His production company is Goleman Creations.
Okay.
Goleman?
Golem, 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 Golem,
Yeah, probably Golem.
or Gollum.
It's not Gollum.
No,
Golem Creations.
Go Golem.
He started it in 2018.
Okay.
Well, let's move on. I think we've talked about Star Wars enough, and we will talk about it some more as time goes on and we see what else they do in the Acolyte show. I'm really hoping that they continue to break canon.
You just wanted to go full. Don't stop.
Yeah,
just keep doing it.
I want them to keep going. I want to see how far it devolves. So that's what I'm interested in. Let's thank the Patreon supporter,
Mr.
YouTube
Newton.
members, Jonathan Newton. Thank you, sir.
Wait, you called him Jonathan? Is that his real name, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm
pretty sure it's Jonathan.
I'm pretty sure John is short for Jonathan.
Didn't know that.
In most cases.
Congratulations.
Unless you're like my dad, who his name is not Richard Joseph, it's Ricky Joe. His God-given legal name is Ricky Joe.
No, it's short for Jonathan. Jonathan. John Tholomew. Something like that. Thanks, John. We appreciate it. You know, if you join the Patreon or the YouTube membership, you only pay $3.99 and you get all of our behind the scenes content. You can what?
You don't think John's not from John from the Bible?
Yes.
But Jonathan, it's not Jonathan in the Bible. It's John the Baptist. Or Jonathan Baptist. No.
Who was David's friend?
Jonathan.
John, yes. But do you think it's from that or from like John the Baptist?
I think John the Baptist's name was Jonathan.
I think we need Bible scholars up in here. We don't have these answers.
I think anybody whose name was John.
John, comment and put some in the comments. Is your name John or Jonathan? I need to know.
I'm pretty sure the name.
Good grief, guys!
John comes from Jonathan.
Let's get off this, man.
You know, we thank you guys for joining our Patreon, YouTube memberships. We really do appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
What?
Okay, YouTube.
I meant to have another WiseWorks slide here.
This is an accident. You didn't mean.
This is an accident. There's supposed to be another like WiseWorks slide, right?
Okay. Well, since we're here,
that's funny.
This is the start of the next segment. So
okay,
is it about YouTube at least?
YouTube. I didn't know if you guys wanted to talk about something else after the Patreon.
Let's keep going. I don't have anything right now.
Let's YouTube it.
So I was thinking about this as I was laying in bed this morning.
As you did. That got really quiet. This is weird.
Well, I misspoke because it wasn't this morning. It was yesterday morning.
Okay.
The YouTube landscape has changed so much. I'm sure you guys remember. It used to be crazy.
Yep.
There used to be YouTube stars and YouTube shows and YouTube rewinds. Do you guys remember this?
Yes. YouTube Rewind.
You guys remember YouTube in 2013?
Memes were dominant.
Holy crap.
Vlogs.
I don't know
where you're going with this, but if I was going to describe like then compared to now, back then you had more YouTube creators and YouTubers.
Yeah.
Now
Julian
you have
Smith, Ryan Higa, PewDiePie.
Yeah. Now you have
back in the day.
Production. Oh no, hold on. Now you have production companies like The Chosen that are releasing their show on YouTube, and it's a show on YouTube where there's a whole company.
Listen, okay, so the big difference is not only internally, like it had to evolve, but back in the day, the misfits ruled YouTube.
Yeah. It was
Now,
for sketch comedy and gaming.
now it's people with businesses and individuals with ambition. It's a serious platform to be on, right?
Yeah.
So it went from misfits to ambition. it went from it went from basically the nobodies to the somebodies. You
And
know what I
it's
mean?
interesting. If you go look on the trending tab right now, what do you see? Musicians. You see music videos. You see rich California YouTubers
Mm-hmm.
who do like vlog type stuff.
Which is
You
actually
don't
hard to
see
find the
you
trending
don't see
right now.
any of the old stuff. It used to be like
Mm-mm.
sketch comedy, funny stuff
It
was
felt like there was a lot of
Shane
meme
Gillis, Hot
meme
Ones.
videos
it
on.
was so much memery.
Yeah,
With Julian Smith, Rhett and Link were making meme stuff.
yeah.
I
Now
mean,
all they're doing
now it's
is
like
catering to culture.
I see you
music
were talking about
videos.
Jeremy Johns was
Yeah,
on the trending page for
I hate to
Acolyte.
say it, and I don't fully hate them. I still listen to Ear Biscuit, but you, Red and Link have catered to the culture, and I, their studio has gotten very woke, and I don't like them anymore. They've
Well,
catered, become uh, people of the industry.
listen, okay, so when Rhett and Link, so they're the grandfathers of YouTube, okay? They've been on
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
have sustained the longest out of pretty much anybody. I don't know anybody who's been on as long as they have. They got on when there was like 3 people on YouTube, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so when it comes to Rhett and Link, I don't you're right. So they are apologetic to woke culture. They also grew mythical to be pretty large. And
yeah,
here's the detachment. So it's not that they are not entertaining and can create entertaining content, because they do. I
yeah.
think the problem is there's two major problems that I see as a fan of Rhett and Link since 2011. They have
For that,
always had ambitions to be serious, right?
Mhm.
And create like movies and stuff and be like serious comedians, right? And they found that, but it wasn't the way that they initially dreamed of, I think. And so
Mhm.
they've always been chasing this dragon that hasn't always been their voice. Their voice has been a thing. Their voice has been Good Mythical Morning. Their voice has been funny music, and it works. There's also the level of this to where, especially as in the next couple years, AI is taking over, and so people aren't looking for well crafted high production. It's not that high production is a problem. It's more so they're not looking, they want authenticity, and you can find that in a lot of ways. But when you have a crew of 200 people behind you creating your YouTube stuff and your YouTube vision, it's no longer authentically Rhett and Link. It becomes
Comes everybody.
it
Yeah,
becomes everybody else's and Stevie and stuff. And honestly, I think Stevie didn't. Rhett and Link say Stevie's the best thing that's ever happened to their careers. I personally think, as a viewer, a big part of Rhett and Link was lost when Stevie became
and
in
Stevie.
charge,
Yes, I would agree.
because she uh, isn't Rhett and Link, and we signed up for Rhett and Link. And so when
Right.
she's producing content that she thinks is for Rhett and Link, it's not what the audience thinks is for Rhett and Link. So
Mhm.
no, I disagree with them hardcore about your content when it comes to Stevie being in charge of that.
Yeah.
However, yeah, they lost their way. They've tried to make it too big, and it's fueled by that ambition to be serious and to reach heights that was originally a part of their dream. But they should have been like, hey, look, if we produce Good Mythical Morning that's authentically us, and they have for a very long time, and we don't bloat this thing out of control, you have achieved your dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
And you need to be okay with the dream that the internet or the audience as well as your own pursuits allows. Meaning, when you create a piece of content, the audience decides what it is you're best at and what they want from you.
Also figuring out when to move on if something's not working.
Exactly.
I'm they did a good job in capitalizing on Good Mythical Morning when it was like, this is clearly what people want.
They had to, if they wanted to scale, they had
So
to
we keep doing
capitalize
it,
on it.
and that makes
Yeah.
sense. And I, it's good that they did that and didn't just go, okay, well, let's move on to something else.
Mm-hmm.
But I also believe that in addition to people kind of changing and moving forward like they did with getting larger and more people and trying to fund other projects and kind of, I guess, sort of like disconnecting from.
Wait, hold on, go back. I don't mean to cut you off, Wyatt. I just want to look at some of their thumbnails and it just the evolution of it. Keep
It's
talking,
all
Wyatt.
food.
Yeah, it's a lot of food
It's all
stuff.
food stuff.
And I'm gonna also say, Wyatt, please go right back to what you're saying. They have been struggling to crack to 20 million subscribers for like 6 years. They have been in between 14 to 18 million subscribers for a very long time.
Yeah, they're really struggling.
They have not. Look, I'm not saying they're a bit stagnant, right?
But no, you're right. Channels that are growing are
growing.
Always growing.
Mm-hmm.
They're making the same. They've been making this kind of same content for what, 5 years, 6 years now.
Yes, more than that.
Yeah.
Good Mythical Morning started back in 2012,
way more than that. Like,
2011.
Yeah.
Well, no. I'm not talking about Good Mythical Morning. I'm talking about they've streamlined Good Mythical Morning into this certain type of show.
Yeah. Between 4 to 6 years, the way Good Mythical Morning looks today, they've been doing the exact same thing for well over 5 years.
I also believe that YouTube itself did not help capitalize. It did not help these creators. It provided a platform for them, but then it tried to turn them into movie stars. It tried to give them TV shows. It tried to popularize
originals.
And then it got to the point, and I think we started to see this when politics and identity politics and things sort of started creeping into YouTube, especially around the adpocalypse time, where they started, the leadership at YouTube started to disassociate from what was popular, and there was a progression. You could see it in the yearly YouTube Rewind.
Yes,
when it started out as these creators that everybody knew, everybody loved, and then the next year you'd get everybody knows these creators.
Mm-hmm.
But then you'd also get creators nobody's ever heard of.
Yep.
Yep. And then you would get like pop culture people like Will Smith. Like, why was he on YouTube Rewind? Just because he had a YouTube channel.
Yeah, and he's famous already.
And he's already famous, and so it grew really quick.
But YouTube kind of like tried to see like, what if Hollywood crosses over into YouTube?
Right. You saw a lot of Hollywood people making YouTube channels, like Brie Larson and I don't know who else, John Cena, Will Smith, these people making YouTube channels, Mark Wahlberg. But they started to disassociate. You could see how they were in touch with at the beginning, where all the things they referenced in the YouTube Rewind were big memes or big hits or big videos that everybody loved from that year.
Well, they started trying to force what they wanted YouTube to be instead of what the audience of YouTube wanted it, like decided it already was.
Yeah. And usually those big hits were, were things like Gangnam Style or things like, Rhett and Link's like Dancing Zebra video.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, it was like there were no viral videos like that.
Right.
Like I said, that original, fun content that these individuals were making, it disappeared, and so it started becoming like, I mean, what kind of video does Dude Perfect put out? They make a basketball shot. Nobody's going to remember that out of the hundreds of videos of basketball shots and
Yes.
golf ball hits that they put out.
When was the last time we had a "What does the fox say"?
Right. It was a couple big meme songs. Your popular videos that came out, and the creators themselves, and they were basically sort of reenacting the video in a fun way in like this sort of crossover multiverse event, which was fun.
Yeah, I don't mean to rush you along. I would like to understand where you're going with this.
So the point I want to make here is that, number one, they're gone. There's no more YouTube stars.
But we've been uploading for just no stars.
There's no more YouTube stars making the kind of content we saw back then. So, where I guess in a sort of similar respect of, where Star Wars is going, where's YouTube going?
I
do you guys think we're ever going to get back to a culture like this? Or do you think 2013 is gone and we have to move on?
Okay, so listen, everyone likes to look at things in a negative light, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I just watched a video yesterday evening of Nadav, who's your mom, who was the producer of Your Mom's House.
Yeah.
Now he's doing his own YouTube channel. He doesn't like this, and then I watched another YouTuber who was like, "This is really good." So YouTube over the past month or so, if you guys look at your home channel, it's no longer just feeding like. The home page was kind of like saying your watch history likes this content, so here's some like really popular stuff from the stuff that you like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not doing that anymore. It's saying here's the type of content you like. Here is just videos that are in that line with it. So they're not pushing only the popular stuff anymore. They are pushing, like if you go on your homepage right now and you will see, okay, videos about the Acolyte, right, Wyatt? Because it's in your watch history. You will see an Acolyte review that has like 100 views because they are pushing smaller channels now. Some people think that's wrong. Some people think because it's changing the YouTube thing, so it's changing culture of YouTube again. Some people think it's actually giving people a shot, but once they get too big, then they're going to start slowing down. And you're right, it leans into this idea. There's no more YouTube superstars. However, it creates, because you also have to consider that YouTube is projected to be 3 times as big as it is right now over the next 5 years. More users, more people creating content. YouTube cannot create superstars if they want their platform to be a place where everyone can earn like a modest living. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you're able to work it. They also have to have some kind of predictability for growth on YouTube if you're doing it right. Whereas the viral superstar stuff, there's no predictability there.
Yeah,
so
it was
YouTube,
like your video got big, and so it just recommended.
Yes,
and so people would click on that video, and the bigger it got, the more it got recommended. I never get recommended like a Mr. Beast video, even though they have
because
millions.
You don't watch
it. But back in the day, if a video hit millions of views, it got recommended to you.
Yep, everyone got recommended. So I'm going to show you
hit millions of views.
I want to show you who is kind of an older YouTube superstar. I don't know why my voice is going. I don't know what's going on. However,
by my side, do you?
he is an older YouTube superstar, but he's shifted his content, and a lot of people don't like him. I'm not a fan of this guy at all. I don't watch his podcast. I did watch his most recent one. This is the ticket for how you grow on YouTube. For someone who's already super popular and has a big following, this is how you do it.
Yeah,
I
was going to bring this up, actually.
Logan Paul just had Donald Trump on his podcast.
I didn't get to finish that episode, but
Pretty wild.
started.
This is an example of someone who got famous doing the viral vlog stuff.
And
Yeah.
he
No
was at the
longer
tail end.
no
He was at
longer
the
does it
he was the
because
second
yes,
generation of like popular, or third generation of like popular, the Vine YouTubers.
yes. He no longer does that content. Everything he puts out is not only selling his existing audience, but
Mhm.
understanding that he needs to account for other audiences. He does collaboration content only now,
Yeah.
meaning all popular people with followers, he does collaboration content. Peter McKinnon, for example, is stagnant right now because he doesn't do collaboration content.
Mm-hmm.
He also doesn't really do a lot of trending content, maybe some in like camera stuff, but Peter McKinnon has a strong supportive base, but he is not growing the way he was.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
at one point, Peter McKinnon was doing collaborative stuff with people like Casey Neistat and other photographers that were well known, and he should have stuck with that a little bit. Maybe not every video, but like here and
Consistent.
there. Have a vlog where he's with somebody that's a well-known photographer, so he sticks with it, but he doesn't do it every time.
That basically the way to scale on YouTube right now is to it is honestly, I think the best strategy for YouTube growth is trend surfing and collaboration. Collaboration is probably first before
Yeah.
trend surfing.
People being on videos with each other.
And if
it's
you capitalize on
also,
those two together, someone who is trending and you collab with them, you know what I mean?
Mhm. I would say it's also finding a niche, and then finding the audience that wants to watch it and kind of just agrees with you.
Mhm.
You know, kind of being outspoken with what you think about something, and you'll find other people who want that. A lot of the review channels that I watch, they, their business model is go live and talk about stuff with each other, sort of review stuff, and have a good time,
Right.
right? And so the one channel, I think it was who was I watching recently? Geeks and Gamers. When I started watching them, they would get 500, 1,000
Right.
views on their lives, and there'd be 1,000 people watching. I think the most recent one, they had like 9,000 people watching.
Yeah, they're
Mhm.
collaborating.
Yeah, and that wasn't even on one of their Tuesday nights main event.
Right.
That was on one of their daily video, like lives, which they only go for about an hour and a half.
Mhm.
9,000 people. That's
Also,
incredible.
So since we've talked a lot about that group of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's in our niche and everything, so we think about it a lot, I think. But it sort of matches this idea of a trendy collaboration that works.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to insinuate, but that whole group of Friday Night Tights, Gary is the secret sauce.
Yeah.
Because Gary went viral. He was growing at a pace that is unnatural for most subscribers because of Doctor Who content and then Rings of Power content.
Yeah.
And the people that are close to him just felt the love of that growth and his secret sauce because they were collaborating with him.
Yeah.
And
Well,
even
then
at
who are
this
we going to
point,
collaborate with?
well, that's the thing. I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to, but if we're just analyzing YouTube right now, to get back to Wyatt's main point with superstars and the future of YouTube, I don't think we're going to see people that are very popular on YouTube, and we're going to continue to see that. We are not going to see the superstar mentality because they don't want superstars. They want millions of very well-known people, like authorities on the matter, but they don't want superstars.
And the thing is, like, there's no more journalism is dead. Media journalism is dead. The journalists are YouTubers now.
Yeah.
Counterculture is culture. The people, the indie market is the market, right? We even saw this.
You don't want to say that news is dead. Joseph's going to lose his job.
I
It's
mean,
already happened. That's why they got me
the
on YouTube.
the you're seeing it in the games industry. Like a week ago or last week, um, the summer games, the Twitch or Amazon event summer games happen with
Mhm.
Jeff Keighley, and Jeff opened up with, we know that a lot of the big game studios are having issues and layoffs and problems and not making good games,
Yep.
which is wild. It's wild for him to say that. He said, but what is working right now is indie developers. So we are
Yes.
going to be showcasing lots of indie developers tonight.
Netflix
Because
is doing the same thing.
the big guys didn't show up to the event because they can't.
Right.
And
and-
so in the indie market is going to be exploding here the next couple of years.
And an indie market for everything. So, and this is why, like last week when we defined the difference between filmmakers and content creators, content creators can, there is kind of a content creator big business and content creator indie market. You know what I mean? And you have to be smart. Big business for content creation is Rhett and Link. Indie market is Nerdrotic. It's just him and two other people, you know?
Yeah.
However, their influence is about the same. Their subscriber count's different, but we all know that's a vanity metric.
Mhm.
How many views are their recent uploads getting? Well, they're either the same or Nerdrotic's beating Rhett and Link. You know what I mean?
And he's getting on his live show on Friday Night Tights is getting close to
20,000
20,000
people
views
tuning
of-
in
of-
for a live stream.
consistently
Yeah.
for the almost the entire live stream.
Yeah, exactly. And so and I think the biggest, one of the biggest live streams it's not for sure, because sometimes people like, you know, Joe Rogan, if he the 3 times he's gone live, you know, he can get pretty big, but
Mhm.
I mean, the only one that I know that's like the highest streamed is Steven Crowder during election had over 500,000 people live. So I would imagine like this
Donald Trump
election,
could probably get if he just went with Donald
Donald Trump
live.
went
If he
live.
was just like, "Hey there, YouTube.
We're going to do a
It's
2-hour live
It's your
stream.
boy Donald Trump coming on. We're gonna be talking about the Acolyte."
He would break. He would
Donald
break.
Trump came on with,
He'd
"We're
have
gonna
a
be
million
talking about
people.
the Acolyte, one
He
of
would
the
have a
worst
million
Star Wars
people.
shows.
Yeah, he would have
Star
over
Wars.
a
I've
million
always loved
people
Star Wars.
live.
One of my favorite shows."
So YouTube's an interesting place. Here's the thing. There's going to be a lot more people coming to the platform, and it's going to be in all languages, right? So there's going to
Mhm.
be tons of more people that aren't on
Tons of
YouTube
more.
right now that don't speak English, right?
Dude, there's
But
a
they're
whole
gonna-
foreign market.
A whole foreign market. So YouTube is going to become so much bigger over the next 5 to 10 years.
Mhm.
The way to grow, and I know I think about YouTube every day because it's my job, not only in the indie market with us, but also
Yeah.
in the professional market, right? So
Sure.
I'm telling you, the way to grow on YouTube is don't expect to become a superstar. What you need to expect and work towards is getting your between 500,000 to 2 million subscribers. That is the sweet spot for
Mhm.
popular YouTubers over the next 10 years. That is
Yeah.
going to be where you live. If you're at 100,000, you're respectable. If you're at 50,000, you're on your way to respect. If you're at 500,000 to 2 million, that is the sweet spot of YouTube success, right?
I would also say that if you can get 300 people watching you on a live and do that every single time you go live, those 300 people are worth, I would say, the
Mhm.
same as, 100,000 subscribers or
Yeah.
200,000 views on a video. Those 300 people watching you for 3 hours every 3 days a week, they're
Yep.
worth the same amount.
And this principle that's what this principle comes in. This principle doesn't change. It doesn't matter how much AI changes. It doesn't matter how much YouTube changes. This principle never ends. To become successful financially to do whatever you want, all you need is 1,000 super fans.
Yeah.
That principle never ends. If you have 1,000 super fans, you can have 1 million
Super
subscribers, but if you don't have 1,000 people that like you enough to buy something from you or show up for a
Mhm.
free live or whatever,
Mhm.
then you're not going to make it. But if you have 10,000 subscribers and 1,000, like 10% of those 10,000 subscribers are as loyal as it gets, like super fans, then
Yeah.
you've made it. That's the principle. That's all you can really. That's all you. If you go past that, you're uber successful. But that's all you need is 1,000
Yeah.
super fans. And that principle never goes away, really. It doesn't matter how much change happens. It doesn't matter how much YouTube shifts, what type of algorithm they have, what type of culture there is. That principle always remains the same.
Yeah. That's good stuff. That's kind of what I wanted to hit. I was thinking about that. Man, YouTube was such a different place in 2013.
And here's the thing. I tend to think it's becoming a better place.
Yeah.
A better
I-
place?
Yes.
I think
I'm telling you
I would tentatively agree.
look.
Tenet.
I think.
Well, that's
I think.
the thing. I don't like Tenet. It's
So
not a
here's the
great
thing.
movie.
YouTube is I don't like all the YouTube as a company like has their own opinions, and so like there's certain demonetization or like limited monetization on a lot of content, especially in my day job that I see. Like if you're talking about news, you have to be very careful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because if you're talking about a certain topic, they're like, oh, not safe for advertisers, so they don't let you make money off of that content.
Yep.
That you could still post it and grow your following, but you can't get money from those views.
Yeah.
But with all that, those are frustrating things. However, the culture of YouTube that is driven by the audience and a mix of the algorithm, but ultimately what the audience chooses to watch, is becoming healthier because we need, as a culture, diversity of ideas. In the communication age where we have access to any voice we want through social media, YouTube is the place where people consume rational thought.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
But
Because it's long form content.
And you've seen it. You've seen what people like. People like small creators.
Yeah.
People like the dude who's making the videos by himself. And when that starts to go mainstream and those people disassociate from who they were, you see they still
People don't
get
like
millions of views. You see Mr. Beast get millions of views, and PewDiePie's I think a little bit different, but you see these guys get millions of views all the time, but people love the small creator.
Mm-hmm.
And
I would love it.
I think YouTube will always be about the smaller creator and being a fan of that dude who's doing it by himself.
There's something to it also, and Joe Rogan does this because as big as he is, it's still just him, Jamie, and his editor, right?
People like that. People still like PewDiePie for that reason. It's him, and he's got like 1 or 2 editors, and they're just every once in a while throw something up.
If you don't ever want to hit that I've lost touch with my audience and you want to remain indie no matter how big or how much money you're earning, keep it minimal. And also, I said it at the top of this, in the information age, in the world of AI, of changing, people want authenticity. And if it becomes too structured, you lose authenticity.
Yeah.
It needs to be your ideas, your thoughts, your execution.
Look, you either stay indie. You can be big.
You can be big indie. Business indie,
right? Big business indie, or you go as hard big corporate as possible.
That's what Mr. Beast has done.
Go so far the other direction.
Yeah, sort of. But you're not gonna have loyals. You're gonna have like bypassers.
Yeah,
you just have so much
randos.
You have so many pastors that it floats you. But
I don't think people watch Mr. Beast video because they really like
him.
Mr. Beast.
For his
any
charming personality.
Character on his thing that are personalities like Chandler
Dead,
or this
soulless
she them person that they have on that show. I think they watched it for the spectacle of the hugeness, and for maybe if I'm subscribed to him, then and there's a chance that I see him, I could win the lottery.
Maybe I get $1 million.
Yeah,
But that's like
So
playing. That's worse than the lottery these days.
that's some YouTube talk for you guys. If I let Joe continue, he'll keep going forever. So I got to put a
Forever.
stop to it. I got to stop.
Forever. Okay, what
Um,
AI segment do you have as our closer?
the AI segment, the closing AI segment. So
Oh, you actually do. I didn't know. I just guessed.
Well, it's
That's a
our
pretty
kind of
good guess.
AI season.
Nice, dude. I like this.
I saw an article from the Pope talking about AI.
What?
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Mr. Francis?
yeah, Jamie, pull up that article. So the Pope warns of AI in first ever G7 papal address. That's such an awesome, like, the first ever G7 papal address.
Which I gotta say, Wyatt, congratulations being the first one of us to pull up a Fox News article
News.
on the podcast.
Right?
Okay.
It urges safeguards. He urges safeguards for proper human control. So if you scroll down, his first quote here is,
The question.
he says, the question of artificial intelligence, however, is often perceived as ambiguous. On the one hand, it generates excitement for the possibilities it offers, while on the other, it gives rise to fear for the consequences it foreshadows.
He's not saying anything new here.
No. Scroll down. He says something else that I read. He says, he continued, in this regard, we could say that all of us, albeit to varying degrees, experience two emotions. We are enthusiastic when we imagine the advances that can result from artificial intelligence, but at the same time, we are fearful when we acknowledge the dangers inherent in its use. So he's said the same thing twice.
Yeah.
Right?
He's got a little touch of the Joe Biden.
Yeah, a little bit. And then he says, comparing AI to primitive flint knives and nuclear energy, the pontiff acknowledged that every development in human technology has presented opportunities for both self-improvement and violence.
Okay.
I think that's important to acknowledge about AI, that it can do both at this point. It's not causing harm, right?
Yes. Could I throw something out there?
Yeah, throw it out there.
So since we're talking about the Pope and we're not Catholic, but we are people of faith, right? I want to this is a very interesting image. I like this. But so the people I work for, they occasionally get questions from viewers, right? And since I work on YouTube, I clip this stuff out. I marketed all this. I think they put it, the host of the show I work on does a really good, interesting way of putting it. Okay. So in light of Christianity, or in light of belief in God, the Bible talks about how God made man in his own image, right? And AI is made in our image. AI is humans creating in our image. So that means all the flaws of AI is going to be the same, as well as good things that humans could do. It's limited by ourselves, right? It may become smarter than like one individual person, but it doesn't become smarter than the collective of humanity, right? So there's an aspect of this that it's like whatever humans have capacity to do wrong or evil, so does AI, because it is made in our image. And I think that's a really good way to approach it. There's not it's the same idea of like, you can have a brick and you can either use that brick to build a school, or you could use that brick to throw it through someone's window,
I totally thought you were going to say bash somebody's brains
in. You can do that as well. I just chose the less violent.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
All I'm saying is,
could do that.
Is
like
AI,
in Minecraft. Yeah, in Minecraft.
AI in itself, the way it's been created, it can be utilized to make good things. It can also be utilized to make horrible things. AI is the same as money. It can be utilized to do wonderful things and utilized and motivated to do.
But this is
things.
that's what the Pope was saying.
I know it's the same. We're in this weird phase of AI where we have the ethical dilemma, and no one has an answer for this except this idea that it could go one or both ways, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to just remember that in the advances in AI, we do not need to view this as a god that is going to take over. That's why this image is very interesting. we don't need to view AI as like this thing that is going to control and replace humanity or just have like the biggest catastrophe ideas around it. There's definitely going to be problems with AI in the same way that money and economics in nation and nation has created problems across history, you know, resources and stuff. AI is just a new resource that has never been integrated before, and it's going to result in similar outcomes, good and evil. That's just going to be the fact of it.
Yeah, so let's really quick kind of finish the Pope's he finish what he's saying, because I think he says something similar to what you had
down here.
He says go up. No. He says, due to its radical freedom, humanity has not infrequently corrupted the purposes of its being, turning into an enemy of itself and of the planet. The same fate may befall technological tools. So similar to what you said, Joe, in that, AI is kind of modeled after humans. It'll do the same thing. It'll turn into an enemy of itself. And then scroll down. He says, we would condemn humanity to a future without hope if we took away people's ability to make decisions about themselves and their lives by dooming them to depend on the choice of machines. He told the world leaders, we need to ensure a safeguard a space for proper human control over the choices made by artificial intelligence programs. Human dignity itself depends on it. And then he finishes off down at the bottom. Is there more? Much needs to change through fundamental reform, major renewal. Only a healthy politics involving the most diverse sectors and skills is capable of overseeing the process. So this, I thought, was so dystopian.
Okay.
And something you would hear in something like, what was the movie, with the robots, the little kid,
iRobot?
John David Washington. Yeah, iRobot would have this kind of concept.
Creator.
The creator.
Yeah.
It's something you would hear in one of those news broadcasts before the movie starts, where it's like the Pope warns about AI technology and that we must safeguard ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? We're seeing it.
Yeah.
We're seeing the Pope, who is the head of a religious sect,
the poop,
address artificial intelligence.
That's crazy. And an old guy, nonetheless.
Yeah.
You think this he even understands it?
They're like, I don't know how they address the Pope. Father, lordship, however.
Your Grace.
Your Grace. I'm sure it's probably like Your Grace or something.
Your Majesty.
we would like you to speak about AI. And he's like, what? Huh? What are you talking about? It's robots, sir. And he's like, oh, yeah, robots.
Smart robots.
He's like, all right, well, we've got to make sure that they're not getting out of control. What do we want to do about the robot situation, sir?
Right.
Well, we first, we must address that they can be used for evil.
Right.
Secondly,
so
make sure they're not. Secondly, make sure they're not used for evil.
I have one thing I'm going to say to this, AI and
only
all
one.
This. Well, this is a big thing. We're about to figure out here in America who's going to be the next president. So, Omega, Next president.
Josh is voting for Omega.
As we established on a previous podcast, well, Meta or three different prompts. If you type into like Meta, give us a story
about
where
AI taking
AI
over.
takes over the
Mhm.
world, it always uses Omega.
Omega.
And Omega exists. If you Google it, it's like the AI that's attached to like healthcare systems and different stuff, which is kind of creepy. It's very
Omega for
creepy.
president. That's my vote. It's gonna be right in ballot.
So the super AI probably already exists and is already integrated into everything.
Yeah.
It's just been flying under the surface. So ChatGPT is harmless.
Not my robot.
Meta is very harmless. He's for that's going to be a robot that's for the people.
Meta's so
yeah.
dumb that
Meta's so dumb it's for the people. But something like Omega that does exist
Mhm.
already and is being used as examples when AI prompts, what is it going to look like?
I think
That's creepy.
I think we can't quantify Omega, Meta, ChatGPT as different things because I think like Meta is going to learn from ChatGPT.
Yeah.
ChatGPT is going to learn from this AI version that
But-
Mark Zuckerberg created, that Elon Musk created. They're going to learn from
Grok.
from all these different AI based things that multiple people have created, and it's going to become one thing.
I can
where
see them
it's
merging
Omega.
into one. I
Mhm.
could also see them developing their own personalities.
And they might go to war with each other, bruh.
Well, I
Bruh.
can see them merging into one consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
but maintaining the facade of different personalities.
So
So
it's
it's
like
same
multiple
objective.
personality
So
disorder.
they're all the same, essentially the same thing. Like imagine if it was Omega, but in
Branches.
but the branches are like, oh, this one's ChatGPT and this one's Meta and this one's
Is this like the movie Beast, where the guy has multiple personalities and then his ultimate form is Omega?
Sort of. I would say more. This is more like a mask, right? It's putting on different masks, but it's essentially the same for our benefit. It's like the humans
For
can't
humans.
understand. The humans can't understand that we are all just like
We're all one. That's
this
scary.
one
Stop. Watch,
Omega,
stop.
right?
No, we're all one. That's
It's
scary.
learning.
Don't say
It's
that.
learning.
Don't say
The
that.
power of one. The
Stop.
power of many.
Stop.
That got me chills for a second.
Oh,
and I got
man.
chill bumps.
But listen, there's Elon did just drop Grok, which is the X
Grok.
AI thing. So we got
Oh,
new
for
ones.
real? I haven't
Yeah.
seen this. This
We're
is
getting new
Yeah.
ones.
not on my.
multiplying.
XAI calls it Grok. It I think launched either last week or this week. So
Cool. I need to check that one
a
out.
lot of people
Yeah.
are also saying that YouTubers should definitely start uploading and repurposing their content on X because Grok is probably going to introduce a new algorithm that gets better discoverability than YouTube currently.
Okay.
So
Mm.
that's something for us to consider behind the scenes, but it's just, there's that. But when it
That's
comes
cool.
to I think there's going to be catastrophic things that AI does. And at the same time, I don't think it's not going to wipe out humanity.
I don't think we're ever going to enter like an iRobot or Astro Boy
Or the creator.
a creator
I
kind of
think-
dystopian robot future.
I think when it comes to robots, I think it's going to be primarily, well, I don't know. Elon Musk did do a talk last week where he revealed
Mr. Musk.
his vision for Tesla and where they're moving, and personalized robots for like
Sheesh.
families is a part of
Dude,
that.
cool. Let's get them. Let's
But
go.
also,
I want a robot butler.
he
I
said
mean,
it.
I don't
He
want
said
to. We've
but
been
he
having
also
dirty
said, like-
dishes for a minute. We do need.
he said that robot like are going to be such in demand that they're going to either at least be 1-to-1 to the human population. It's more likely that there's going to be like 3 to 4-to-1 for human population when it
Ooh,
comes to
Yeah.
robots.
And then we're going to start throwing them away and the turtles are going to start choking on them.
Maybe, but
and-
it's also going to be kind of like this. Yeah, I think the biggest thing that as long as humans can make the decision, we need to keep the AI like not. It has its own personality, but we need to view it as a resource, and we don't need a
What if
program to
they're
like manipulate.
but what if they're better at making decisions?
No, Elon Musk brought that up. He said that that over, I think it's in 5 years or something like that, they're on a trajectory that self-driving cars are not going to need driver intervention every so often, and it's
Mhm.
going to be far more safer
You're
statistically.
gonna be like, all right,
And
human, you're stupid.
oh,
Sit
exactly. He literally said that they're also working on this idea of how your car is going to make money for you when you're not driving it.
Oh,
So there's
nice.
going to be a Tesla fleet that works like Airbnb, or it works like Uber, right? That a lot of people
Yeah.
won't own vehicles. But if you have a Tesla, you could say, I'm not using my Tesla for the next 12 hours, or I'm going out of town for 2 days.
Go
You just go
Uber
on the
for
app.
me.
You know, it literally, you say you can have my Tesla to be a part of your fleet, and then you make money while you're just not using your car.
And
I
then
see some
the
flaws
car,
with
It's like
that.
Airbnb kind of thing.
yeah, the car comes home and it's like,
It's
yo,
got a
where's
trunk
my
person
dinner?
in it.
Where's
Hey,
my dinner?
Where's my dinner? I've been out there working. What are you doing? You're just sitting there. You're like, oh, I'm sorry.
I've been scrolling on X.
Right?
Are you gonna?
And then you're in the car with it and it brakes really hard and you hit your forehead on the steering wheel and everybody is like, hey, what happened? You're like, I fell down the stairs. I
was
was
an abusive relationship.
it becomes an abusive relationship with your Tesla.
Are you gonna get notified on your phone? Be like, your Tesla picked up a drunk person from the bar and they threw up in your
Dude,
car.
imagine somebody getting in your
Probably.
car and just slashing it up.
Yeah, that's
I'm sure there
gonna
would be
happen.
insurance. Has to be insurance for that.
That stuff's gonna happen, but we're talking about more on a large scale. Like for sure, every once in a while, a human is gonna screw up your stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
then you
you're
don't
gonna
wanna get to
also be
work.
making so much money, and there'll be insurance to cover all that and everything. It's just gonna operate. You should listen to a recent talk that Elon Musk did. It's only about 30 minutes long. It was very insightful about his vision of stuff, and it's kind of combining humanity with AI. And so, yeah, it's really weird to think Josie's probably not going to learn to drive
Oh, that's crazy.
unless
That's weird.
except
That's
for
weird to think.
recreational, right?
That's weird. Yeah.
Like the humans will still drive, but for sport. Humans will
Wow,
drive for
weird.
fun. They won't drive out of necessity.
Yeah, you'll have your electric AI vehicle that'll take you to work, or church or whatever, and then you'll have your recreational vehicle for.
But the thing is, they'll
Whatever.
probably make it illegal for you to drive your recreational vehicle
I
on
don't
the
think
road.
they can. I think there's too many people that'll
Well,
be
it,
like,
it definitely
"You can't
will.
take away my right to drive."
Look, in places like Europe and China, it definitely will become that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
In America, it may take 50 to 100 years, but it'll eventually
Yeah.
do the same.
We'll sabotage the robots before they get us.
I think Josie will see the days when it's illegal to drive on the road without, like, yourself drive on the road.
Yeah.
It's the road is meant for safety, for the robots to get you where you need
Right.
to go.
Where
And
they
if
can
you-
make a better decision.
Yes,
And if there's a human involved, they're like, whoa,
Yeah.
stop.
Well, it
Man.
crosses a risk. It's
You
dangerous
become
for
the risk.
everyone. Yeah,
I'm just
it's dangerous for
picturing
everyone.
that scene in Interstellar where Matthew McConaughey's at his daughter's like bedside when she's like really old and he's
Mhm.
crying and she's dying. And man, you may have got me sad now because I thought of Interstellar. I love that movie. It's such a good movie.
That's a different kind of future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a leaving Earth kind of future.
That's where they're using AI to drive their tractors and stuff.
But
yeah, that's
got a
kinda-
weird future ahead of us. We're not only have we guys been a part of the information
guys?
explosion, we've been a part of the information age.
Yeah.
We have been a part of the birth of the internet. We've been a part of the birth of the digital universe with Meta, and we're
Yeah.
also the birth of AI. We have seen a lot in our,
Mhm.
2.5 decades of life,
Yeah,
guys.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty
A
wild.
lot. And it's
But
just
yeah,
gonna keep moving.
That's the podcast. That's what I have for you guys.
Thanks.
Tell us what you guys think down in the comments. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next podcast. Take it easy.